Hey everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood pastor KP here. Hope all is well with you, and I hope you are staying strong in the Lord and you're staying faithful and committed. Reason why I'm saying that is because there are a lot of videos circulating right now on a brother who decided that he was going to leave the Seventh-day Adventist Church. His name is Ryan Day. Granted, he's been working with 3ABN and Doug Batchelor and other capacities, or with other popular individuals, but not too familiar with him. So I'm just getting acquainted with who he is and some of the things he was doing and some of the things that he's doing now that he's decided to leave the Seventh-day Adventist Church. This is nothing new. I listened to some of the things he said. Of course, a lot of the things that he said there are some long videos. Even for people who are commenting on his stuff, it's long. So but I took the time. Of course, he's consistent with a lot of the people out there calling the Adventist Church a cult. He talks about Ellen White, and we believe in Ellen White more than the Bible. We don't just believe in the Bible. I've heard other ministers say that as well. Righteousness by faith. I heard that whole argument that he's talking about, and his challenge with Adventism and their position. I think the in terms of one particular thing that he discussed is before the second coming of Christ, and what Ellen White said about the condition that we must be in order to make it into the kingdom. I think it's sometimes when these things come to mind, I forget them. But there's a segment of Adventists who have this whole last day theology or end time theology on the whole perfection issue. I don't want to say too much, but it sounded like that's what he was hinting at when he was commenting on the whole righteousness by faith gripe or his criticism. Of course, there are some other things that he mentioned, right? It's important that you know the Bible for yourself. And of course, we do believe in Ellen White. We believe in her inspired writings. And, I am one who believe in the writings of Ellen White. Read it. And I don't get what these individuals get. I think she points people to the Bible, and her writings have elevated me, helped me. But of course, I don't put her over the Bible, right? The other thing that I want to say is that, from since Adventism started, we've always had this stuff, right? We've always had our critics and our detractors and people who say all type of things. The Trinity, tithing, state of the dead, whether it's, and I'm talking about from inside and outside, right? The judgment, right? The 1844 judgment and all of that sort of, our timeline on history and prophecy. People have a lot of things that they have to say about the Adventist Church. The Sabbath, of course, vegetarianism and all that sort of stuff. So it's never going to stop as long as we're on this side of heaven. And it reminds me also of, individuals that the Bible speaks about, right? Who were in this category, right? Of course, we know Judas, who betrayed Jesus Christ because of his love of money. Paul made mention of, in 2 Timothy chapter 2, of a brother named Demas. Paul said here in 2 Timothy 2, verse 10. Demas has forsaken me, having loved the present world, and has departed for Thessalonica. Right? Paul also mentions in Hebrews chapter, let me back up to go to 1 Timothy. The Spirit expressly, chapter 4, 1 Timothy chapter 4. I'll put these references in the description box. in the latter days or latter times, some will depart from the faith by devoting themselves to deceitful spirits and teaching of demons, through the sincerity of liars whose consciences are seared. Okay? So, we have a lot of examples, a lot of passages of scripture that talks about individuals who just, they're not in it anymore. They've given up on the faith, for various reasons, right? Somebody's in their ear. They haven't studied, they didn't ground themselves enough in scripture, and all types of things come along. Maybe they're dealing with some things on a personal end. Don't know about that brother Ryan Day, but hey, I always challenge for the individuals that challenge me or challenge other Adventists. I always ask them, man, I say, one, what's the insight that you got? Give me this new light. Tell me your perspective on all the different doctrines that you're talking about, including, what you have to say about Ellen White. Give me your perspective. And I encourage them, to do that, because I want to hear what they got to say. And I've said, well, if you don't believe that what the Adventist Church teaches, there are lots of other denominations out there. And I also say to them, and this is where I get really, really hard on people, don't use your position in the SDA church to now pull people from the SDA church. That part really, really gets to me, because as a pastor, you have to visit people, study with them, nurture them, baptize them. It takes a long time to do this. And to have somebody just come along with some new thought, new idea, and start to curse out the Adventist church and prey on the people that are not fully grounded yet. They're just coming into the faith, man. I really get annoyed with these individuals, and I really have no patience for them. So just wanted to, say something in an impromptu manner, because the Adventist social media right now is going crazy because Ryan Day has left. Like I said, Adventist history, just go through our history. Even during the first century, all right? When Jesus Christ was on earth, and he called people to be disciples, a lot of them turned away because they were not willing to give up everything in order to follow Christ. Or when hard times started to hit them, they decided to walk away from it or choose a different road that they believe is greener pastures. All right. KP here, just once again, just sharing my thoughts on this whole issue going around right now on social media. Maybe when I get the chance, I'll sit down and say some other things, look at some Ellen White quotes, right? But don't fret yourself, man. Don't worry yourself. Just keep holding on to the Lord. Stay blessed. Only what you do for Christ will last. Peace.